It's almost time for the Pokemon Go Global Unova Tour, and in this video I will be going through everything the event has to offer and the best tips to help you make the most of it. So the event will be taking place on March 1st and 2nd between 10 AM and 6 PM local time, and it will be free to play. But what exactly does the event have to offer? Well, the main features for the event are as follows. Black and White QRM will be making their Pokemon Go debut, and trainers will have the chance to learn about these fusions through an event exclusive special research. And I will be going into the details of how these fusions actually work later on in the video. Shiny Meloetta will be making its Pokemon Go debut through Masterwork Research. This will cost you $5 and it will become available at the start of the Road to Unova event on the 24th at 10 AM, and it will be available to purchase up until March 2nd at 6 PM local time. And luckily the Masterwork Research won't expire because it is a special research, so once you've purchased it you will be able to complete it at your own pace. For the first time in Pokemon Go, there will be a Battle Pass like system known as the Tour Pass. This is a free limited time progression track that you can progress through by completing past tasks and collecting tour points to rank up and get rewards and bonuses. This tour pass can be upgraded, but it will lead to some interesting rewards such as the new Lucky Trinket. If you want to know more about the tour pass, check out this video where I go into it in more depth. Shiny Deerling will be making its debut in all of its forms, and each of the forms will be tied to different habitats. And lastly, the shiny forms for the regional Pokemon Maractus, Sigilif and Bufalon will be debuting, and they will be available in 10-kilometer eggs and not locked to their regions. And while all of this is great, it really is just the tip of the iceberg. For the wild encounters, as usual with these types of events, there will be event-themed Pokemon appearing in 4 different habitat hours. And habitats for the global event are basically just hour time slots where certain Pokemon will be spawning, and each hour is tied to a different habitat and different event spawns. So there will be 4 season-themed habitats for this event, and they will rotate hourly and repeat once for a total of 8 hours in a day. Firstly, the Winter Caverns habitat will take place from 10 AM to 11 AM, and it will repeat from 2 PM to 3 PM. And the possible encounters during this habitat hour will be Oshawott, Roggenrola, Woobat, Drillbur, Tortuga, Minchino, Vanillite, Deerling Winter, Joltik, Clink, Tynamo, Axew, Cubchoo and Cryogonal. For the Spring Soiree habitat, that will be taking place from 11 AM to 12 PM and 3 PM to 4 PM. The spawns will be Snivy, Pansage, Moona, Ordino, Timber, Seawaddle, Venipede, Cottony, Petalil, Ducklet, Deerling Spring, Fungus, Alomomola and Ferroseed. For the Summer Vacation habitat, that will run from 12 PM to 1 PM and from 4 PM to 5 PM. The wild spawns will be Tepig, Lillipup, Pansear, Pidove, Blitzel, Timpole, Darumaka, Dwebble, Archon, Trubbish, Deerling Summer, Emolga, Stunfisk and Rufflet. And lastly, for the Autumn Masquerade habitat, that will run from 1 PM to 2 PM and from 5 PM to 6 PM. The encounters will be Patrat, Purloin, Panpour, Scraggy, Yamask, Gothita, Solosis, Deerling Autumn, both Frillish, Elgium, Litwick, Golett and Dino. And during all of these habitat hours, you will be able to encounter Pikachu wearing Hilbert's hat, Pikachu wearing Hilda's hat, Pikachu wearing Nate's visor and Pikachu wearing Rose's visor. There will also be event-themed Pokemon in eggs. In 2-kilometer eggs will be Roggenrola, Timber, Carablast, Shelmet and Larvesta. In 5-kilometer eggs will be Throw, Sork, Heatmore, Durant and Larvesta, and in 10-kilometer eggs will be Larvesta, as well as the regionals Maractus, Sigilif and Bufalont. And on Incense, excluding daily Incense, you will be able to encounter unknown U, N, O, V and A to spell out Unova. From field research, you will be able to encounter all of the Pikachu variants that you can find in the wild. You'll also be able to encounter Deerling in all of its forms and both red and blue stripe Basculin. And these Basculin will have an increased chance of being double XS and double XL. Now for the raids, in 1-star raids will be all of the event Pikachus, in 3-star raids will be Druddigon, and in 5-star raids will be Zekrom, Reshiram, and the global debut of Black Kyurem and White Kyurem. And for these 5-star raids, they will actually be rotating hourly along with the habitats. First up will be Reshiram and Black Kyurem, and when the hour changes, it will be Zekrom and White Kyurem, and this will alternate throughout the day. And to go along with the 5-star raid bosses will be an added rarity of new special backgrounds for them. There will be a background inspired by Pokemon White version that Zekrom can have, and one inspired by Black version that Reshiram can have. And Kyurem encountered from Black and White Kyurem raids can have either of these backgrounds. And this is where it gets even more interesting. If you fuse a Zekrom or a Reshiram with a Kyurem and they have opposite special backgrounds, the resulting fused Black or White Kyurem will have its own background variant, so that's an even deeper layer of rarity. For the bonuses, there will be half hatch distance between 10 AM and 6 PM each day, which will be ideal for working on your breed Raider Platinum medals. And from 12 AM to 11:59 PM on each day, there will be no remote raid limit. So this will be great for progressing those Raid Platinum medals. You will also be able to make up to 6 special trades per day, and it'll be half Stardust cost for trades. These trades will be useful for getting your Platinum Gentleman and perhaps your Platinum Pilot medal if there's a decent distance between the 2 Pokemon traded. Unlike previous Go Tours, there will be the option of which badge you pick for the event, and this will impact your experience. Choosing the black version badge will get you a Reshiram themed special research and rewards, and all QRM encountered from black QRM raids will know legacy move Glaciate. And Glaciate is actually a very important move to have on these QRM, and I will be going through why later on when I talk about how the fusions work. And if you choose the white version badge, you will get a Zekrom themed special research and rewards, and all QRM encountered from white QRM raids will know the legacy charge attack Glaciate. Not only that, but the badge you choose will have an impact on the adventure effects for black and white QRM, but more on these adventure effects towards the end of the video. New party play challenges will be available, rewarding encounters with Throw, Sork, Heatmore and Durant, and both red and blue striped Basculin will be appearing more frequently on routes. New avatar items will also be available. The free tour pass will get you the Unova Tour avatar t-shirt, and the deluxe tour pass will get you a QRM helmet. In the in-game shop will also be black QRM wings and white QRM backpack, and the shiny Meloetta tee for your avatar will be a reward from the Masterwork research. There will also be Unova Tour themed stickers available from spinning Pokestops, opening gifts and for purchase in the in-game shop. It is also worth mentioning that there are 2 other tickets that you can buy for the Road to Unova event, and the effects of these tickets will carry over to the global event as well. The Road to Unova raid ticket will get you these rewards and it will cost $5, and the Road to Unova hatch ticket will get you these rewards and it will also cost you $5. I do go more into these in this video, so check it out if you want to know more about them. So for the Global Unova Tour, which event Pokemon are most worth focusing? So in the Winter Caverns habitat, we do have Oshawott spawning, and its evolution Samurott is ranked 71 in the Great League with 0, 14, 14 IVs. It's also not a bad budget water type attacker, being the 21st best, and it's the 10th best water type attacker as a shadow. And for raid attacking, it does want Waterfall and legacy move Hydro Cannon, and although it hasn't been announced at the time of this recording, we can hopefully evolve Duot into Samurott during this event to get Hydro Cannon like you could during the in-person event. Roggenrola is also in this habitat, and Gigalith is the 15th best rock type attacker, and it's the 9th best as a shadow with moveset Smackdown and legacy move Meteor Beam. And again, you should be able to get Meteor Beam through evolution. It will also be in 2km eggs as well, and it will only require 1 kilometer to hatch these because of the event bonus, so a good opportunity to get some candy and hatch a higher IV Roggenrola for raid attacking. Drillbur is another Winter Cavern spawn, and this Pokemon is well worth hunting because it has relevance in all aspects of the game. Firstly, as a raid attacker, it is the 16th best ground type attacker and the 8th best as a shadow with moveset Mud Slap and Scorching Sands. And as a steel type attacker with moveset Metal Claw and Iron Head, it's the 21st best and the 6th best as a shadow. It's also a strong steel and ground type attacker for max battles and a good tank with its defenses. And as it doesn't have a G-Max form, investing Candy, Stardust and Max Particles into it is worth it. And it does also see a bit of play in the Master League where it is ranked 98 as a shadow. Another notable spawn for this habitat is Axew. Its evolution Haxorus is the 15th best dragon type attacker with Dragon Tail and legacy move Breaking Swipe. And Breaking Swipe was available via evolution during the in-person event, so hopefully it gets announced for the global event. And it does also see some play in the Master League where it's ranked 125. So these are the most notable encounters for the Winter Caverns habitat. Now for the Spring Soiree, we have Snivy, which is another good spawn because Serperia is ranked 54 in the Great League with 0, 10, 15 IVs. And this is another one that you are going to want to evolve during the event to get Frenzy Plant if it's possible. Pansage will also be spawning here, which is a good one to pick up if you need it for the decks, because it is a regional Pokemon that is normally exclusive to the Asia Pacific region. Ordino is spawning during this habitat hour as well, and whilst not meta relevant, it is a Stardust boosted Pokemon that gives 2100 Stardust per catch without a weather boost or a star piece, so well worth picking up this Pokemon whenever you see it. It does however have quite a low catch rate, so I would recommend Raspberries and an Ultra Ball to make it a bit easier. Timber is another good spawn here, and it is in 2km eggs as well with Roggenrola, so another reason to hatch these eggs whilst you have half hatch distance. Timber's evolution Conkeldurr is the 13th best fighting type attacker and the 5th best as a shadow, with its best moveset being Counter and Dynamic Punch. There is another Stardust boosted Pokemon spawning during this habitat as well, and that's Fungus. And whilst it doesn't give as much Stardust as Ordino, it still does give a good amount of 500 Stardust per catch, and that is without a weather boost or a star piece as well. For the Summer Vacation habitat, we have Darumaka, and the candy is pretty useful for powering up Galarian Darmanitan, which is the 10th best ice type attacker with Ice Fang and Avalanche. Pansear is spawning, and again worth picking up if you don't live in Europe, the Middle East or Africa, because it is normally exclusive to those regions. Again, there is another Stardust Stardust boosted Pokemon in this habitat being Trubbish, and this one does give 750 Stardust per catch without a weather boost and a star piece, so definitely worth catching for that. We also have Rufflet spawning in this habitat, and its evolution Braviary is the 16th best flying type attacker with Air Slash and Fly, so it's not a bad budget flying type attacker to use if you haven't got anything else better. For the Autumn Masquerade habitat, Panpour is spawning and worth picking up if you need it because it is a regional Pokemon that is normally exclusive to the Americas. Yamask is also spawning in this habitat, and its evolution Cofagrigus is ranked 92 in the Ultra League with 10, 15, 15 IVs. And the candy is also useful for Galarian Yamask, which evolves into Runerigus, which is ranked 55 in the Ultra League with 10, 15, 15 IVs. Runerigus does also have the advantage over Cofagrigus, with it being ranked 75 in the Great League as well with 0, 11, 14 IVs. Litwick is another one worth picking up because Chandelure is the 18th best ghost type attacker with Hex and Shadow Ball, and as a shadow it's the 6th best overall. And as a fire type attacker it's the 16th best in its shadow form with Fire Spin and Overheat. And lastly, for the habitat spawns, Dino is a good option because Hydreigon is the 6th best dark type attacker with Bite and Brutal Swing, but Brutal Swing is a legacy move. So if it is announced to be available via evolution, you are going to want to get this one. It is also a decent option for the Master League where it is ranked 57, and the middle stage evolution Zweilous is ranked 96 in the Great League with 0, 15, 15 IVs. And it is worth noting alongside Roggenrola and Timber, Larvesta will be in 2km eggs, so definitely a good opportunity to get Larvesta while it's in a smaller pool of possible hatches. And its evolution Volcarona is the 19th best fire type attacker with Fire Spin and Overheat, and the 4th best bug type attacker with Bug Bite and Bug Buzz. It does also require 400 candy to evolve Larvesta into Volcarona. And the 10km eggs in particular will be worth hatching because Maractus is normally a regional exclusive to Mexico, Central America and South America, Sigilif is exclusive to Egypt and Greece, and Bouffalont can usually only be found in New York and the surrounding areas. So generally these Pokemon are not easy to come by unless you normally live in these areas, and they will also be able to be shiny, so a good time to hunt them whilst you can. I would recommend using super incubators on these 10km eggs if you can. Worth noting as well, you should be using your incense for the unknown encounters because outside of these kind of events, unknown are super rare. Moving on to the raid bosses, which should you focus the most? Well, it is black and white Kyurem for the most part, although worth noting you do need Zekrom and Reshiram to do these fusions, so you will need at least one of each if you haven't got them. But black and white Kyurem will be a priority to get the fusion energy and Kyurem because they are meta relevant as raid attackers and in Go Battle League. But which out of the two is the best? Now both of these Pokemon are very good as raid attackers and in Go Battle League, but there are some differences between them. Firstly, they will be getting some new very strong moves. Black Kyurem will get the ice type charge attack Freeze Shock, and white Kyurem will get the ice type charge attack Ice Burn. These however aren't guaranteed, and I will be going through later how you get them. These are however the best charge attacks for both of them for raid attacking and for Go Battle League, and as ice type raid attackers these will be the top two. Black Kyurem will have the edge slightly, but it doesn't have a double ice type moveset. Its best moveset is Dragon Tail and Freeze Shock because it has no ice type fast attack, but white Kyurem does have a fast ice type attack in the form of Ice Fang, and this is best paired with Ice Burn. Having Ice Fang does close the gap in their power in certain situations and makes it a little bit less clear cut which is the best in certain situations. It does seem like black Kyurem will be better in situations when the Pokemon it's against has a single weakness to ice and when it has access to party power because Freeze Shock is the stronger charged attack. However, white Kyurem seems like it will be better in situations where the Pokemon is double weak to ice and when soloing. This does seem to be the general consensus, but we will see more when it's put into practice. And to be honest, for Go Battle League it is kind of a similar situation as well. Black Kyurem will have the edge in the Master League with it being ranked 2 compared to white Kyurem being ranked 5. This ranking is however pretty close, so both are going to be useful. Overall though, I would give the edge to black Kyurem if you have to pick one. I do also want to quickly note Zekrom, Reshiram and Kyurem's meta relevance as well. For Reshiram, it is the 5th best fire type attacker with Fire Fang and Fusion Flare, and in the Master League it's ranked 34. For Zekrom, it's the 2nd best electric type attacker with Charge Beam and Fusion Bolt, and it's ranked 31 in the Master League. And for Kyurem, which will be the encounter you get from the black and white Kyurem raids, it is the 11th best ice type attacker with legacy move Glaciate, and it is also ranked 17 in the Master League. And for these raid bosses, what are the best counters for them and how many trainers will you need to beat them? For Reshiram, it has a raid TP of 53,394 and the 100% IVs are 2307 and 2884 boosted in sunny and windy weather. It is a fire and dragon type and therefore it is weak to ground, rock and dragon type attacks. The best counters are Mega Rayquaza, Primal Groudon, Mega Garchomp, Shadow Groudon, Origin Dialga, Mega Diancie, Mega Salamence, Shadow Rhyperior, Shadow Palkia, and Rayquaza. And for budget options which are generally easier to obtain and to power up, I would recommend Haxorus, Rhyperior, Salamence, Garchomp, Rampardos, Dragonite, and Gigalith. This raid can be duoed with the best counters at high levels, but I would recommend 3 or 4 players. Zekrom also has a raid TP of 53,394, and the 100% IVs are also 2307 and 2884, but boosted in windy or rainy weather. It is a dragon and electric type, and therefore it is weak to ground, ice, dragon, and fairy type attacks. The best counters are Mega Rayquaza, Black Kyurem, Primal Groudon, White Kyurem, Mega Garchomp, Mega Salamence, Shadow Groudon, Origin Dialga, Origin Palkia, and Shadow Garchomp. And for budget counters, we have Haxorus, Garchomp, Dragonite, Excadrill, Salamence, and Mamoswine. This raid can also be duoed, but I would recommend 3 or 4 trainers if you don't have some of the best counters at high levels. For White Kyurem, it has a raid TP of 56,009, and the 100% IVs for Kyurem from these battles will be 2042 and 2553, boosted in windy or snowy weather. It is a dragon and ice type, therefore it is weak to fighting, rock, steel, dragon, and fairy type attacks. The best counters are Mega Rayquaza, Duskmane Necrozma, Mega Lucario, Origin Dialga, Origin Palkia, Black Kyurem, Mega Latios, Shadow Palkia, Mega Garchomp, and Terrakion. And for budget counters, I would recommend Haxorus, Metagross, Lucario, Conkeldurr, Dragonite, Salamence, Machamp, and Rhyperior. This raid can actually be duoed if you have the top counters powered up to high levels, however I would recommend a 3rd trainer if possible. For Black Kyurem, the raid CP and the 100% IVs are the same as White Kyurem, and so is the dragon and ice typing and the weakness of fighting, rock, steel, dragon, and fairy type attacks. However, the best counters are a little bit different. They are Mega Lucario, Mega Rayquaza, Duskmane Necrozma, Origin Dialga, Shadow Metagross, Terrakion, Black Kyurem itself, Mega Garchomp, Mega Heracross, and Origin Palkia. And for budget counters, I would recommend Metagross, Lucario, Haxorus, Conkeldurr, Excadrill, Rhyperior, Garchomp, and Machamp. Much like White Kyurem raids, this raid can be duoed with the top counters, but again I would recommend 3 or 4 trainers if you don't have the best counters powered up. Worth noting, for all of these raids, partying up is well worth it if you can, because party power will make it a lot easier. And whilst you could Mega Evolve a Pokemon to get more Candy, Candy XL, and XP for wild Pokemon in each of the habitats, and if there are some Pokemon you want to go after in those habitats in particular and get Candy for them, then it could be worth it, but I would recommend Mega Evolving a Dragon type so you can get more Candy, Candy XL, and XP for Zekrom, Reshiram, and Kyurem, because the Candy will be needed for the actual fusion requirements, and the Kyurem Candy will be needed for powering up Black and White Kyurem. So for this, you could Mega Evolve Charizard X, Ampharos, Sceptile, Altaria, Salamence, Latias, Latios, Garchomp, or Rayquaza. And if you don't have any Dragon type Mega Evolutions available, Kyurem is also an Ice type, so you could Mega Evolve Glalie or Abomasnow. So this is how you could beat Black and White Kyurem with the fewest trainers. But how exactly do you fuse Kyurem with Reshiram and Zekrom to get the fusions? So using DNA splicers, Kyurem can fuse with Zekrom using 1000 Volt Fusion Energy, 30 Kyurem Candy, and 30 Zekrom Candy to form Black Kyurem. Or Kyurem can fuse with Reshiram using 1000 Blaze Fusion Energy, 30 Kyurem Candy, and 30 Reshiram Candy to get White Kyurem. And these Pokemon will stay fused permanently unless you decide to split them, but it is worth noting if you do decide to split them and then you want to fuse them again, there won't be any reductions for the cost of the fusion. And here is where there are some difference between the Kyurem fusions and the Necrozma fusions. So Black and White Kyurem will get access to their signature moves when fused. Black Kyurem gets Freeze Shock and White Kyurem gets Ice Burn. However, unlike the Necrozma fusions where any of the fused Necrozma will get their signature moves by default, the Kyurem fusions will only get these fusion moves if the Kyurem you use to do the fusion has its legacy move Glaciate. And whether you get Glaciate from the Kyurem from Black or White Kyurem raids depends on the badge that you choose, like I mentioned earlier. And if you want to fuse one of your older Kyurem, you could always use an Elite Charge TM to get Glaciate. And it is worth noting that the Black and White Kyurem fusions do take the IVs and the shiny status from Kyurem and not from the Zekrom or Reshiram, so you could basically think of Zekrom and Reshiram as being fusion materials that determine whether you get the Black or White Kyurem when you fuse them. With that said though, how do you get everything that you need for the fusions? Well, raiding Black Kyurem will get you a Kyurem encounter and some Volt Fusion Energy, and raiding White Kyurem will get you a Kyurem encounter and some Blaze Fusion Energy. And to get Reshiram and Zekrom, they will be in 5-star raids as I mentioned, mentioned, so you can raid them to get them and to get candy for them. And lastly, the signature moves for black and white Kyurem are actually more interesting than you think. As we saw with the Necrozma fusions, their signature moves came with adventure effects, and so will the Kyurem fusions. For black Kyurem, with 5000 Stardust and 5 Kyurem candy, you can activate Freeze Shock's adventure effect for 10 minutes. This effect will stop a Pokemon you encounter from being able to move whilst you attempt to catch it, meaning it won't be able to jump or do any of its animations. This effect will also make it easier for your auto catcher to catch Pokemon as well. You can extend the effect of Freeze Shock's adventure effect in increments of 10 minutes by using Stardust and Kyurem candy. The timer can be extended up to 2 hours each time you tap use, and you can do this up until you have 24 hours in total. And for white Kyurem, with 5000 Stardust and 5 Kyurem candy, you can activate Iceburn's adventure effect for 10 minutes, and this effect will make the catch circle in Pokemon encounters move more slowly, so it's easier for you to land excellent throws. This also makes Pokemon much easier to catch when using an auto catcher. Again, this effect can be extended up to 24 hours if you have the resources for it. You can only use one adventure effect at a time, and these moves can't be learned by Charge TM or Elite Charge TM. The fusions will only have these moves if the Kyurem that you use to fuse has its legacy move Glaciate. This, however, will be available through black and white Kyurem raids, and you will be able to get it via Elite TM on your older Kyurem if you wanted to do that. And there is another way to extend the effects of both of these adventure effects during Global Unova Tour without using Stardust or candy, and that is through the Tour Pass. So when you progress through the Tour Pass by collecting points from activities and through past tasks, you will reach minor and major milestones, and each time you reach a major milestone, you will increase your event bonuses, including adventure effects. So if you chose the black version badge, reaching tier 2 in the Tour Pass will get you 1.5 times catch XP, and it'll get you 1.5 times adventure effect duration for black Kyurem's Freeze Shock. Tier 3 will get you 2 times catch XP and 2 times adventure effect duration, and lastly tier 4 will get you 3 times catch XP and 3 times adventure effect duration. And if you chose the white version badge, it will be the same, but you will be increasing the duration of white Kyurem's Iceburn adventure effect instead of black Kyurem's Freeze Shock adventure effect. With that said though, if you did enjoy this video, then I recommend checking out these videos on the screen now, and I'll catch you in the next one.